The history of any community along the Great Lakes includes many stories about storms and the horrible losses in ships, cargoes, and lives that can result when these storms suddenly appear. The Cape Bully, the only commercial ship ever constructed at Corunna, was on its maiden voyage to Chicago and back. If this ship had returned, Corunna, rather than Sarnia, might have become the hub of the shipbuilding industry in the late 19th and early 20th century here in Lambton County. The month of October in 1869 was one of severe gales on the Great Lakes. Off Sleeping Bear Point in Lake Michigan, one of those gales caught the Cape Bully. Designed to function as a schooner, the engine had not yet been installed, and this voyage was by sail only. Several ships were sighted after the ship floundered, but none approached over the next 40 hours, spanning 2 cold nights and parts of 3 days. By the time the survivors were rescued, only 4 of the original 10 people on board remained, holding tight to the overturned vessel until they were rescued by the crew of a ship named Black Hawk. One of those 4 who survived was Elizabeth Mitchell, the only one listed on the ship's manifest as a passenger. A report from the Weekly Wisconsin Milwaukee, dated October 13, 1869, 1 week after the rescue, stated, when taken off, the survivors were so nearly exhausted that they could not help themselves in the least. The passenger, Elizabeth Mitchell, had sustained herself and encouraged the men by words and deeds during the trying time, but all had to be lifted like helpless children into the boats and upon the deck of the Black Hawk. Had they been left upon the wreck another night, as all expected to be, every soul would have perished. Who was Elizabeth Mitchell? Why was she on board? Did she have some connection with John Bully, owner of the Cape Bully? Let's go back to Wednesday, October 6, 1869. It is after 6 p.m. as the Black Hawk approaches. It is just beginning to get dark. The 4 survivors of the upturned ship, Second Mate Seaboard Turcott, Seaman John Stone, and Charles O'Connor, and Elizabeth Mitchell, passenger, are all now safely on board the Black Hawk, have been provided with warm, dry clothes and food and a hot drink. Master of the rescue ship, Captain Thomas Clark, asked one of the sailors what happened. He was told, "Well, Captain, sir, near if I can remember, it be just before midnight on Monday last, near 2 days ago. Must have survived there in the cold water more than 40 hours. At first there be 10 of us. Near as I remember that first night, we all clung on to the upturned boat. Oh, it was so cold in the water. The storm still fuming at us. Tough to hang on. We lost 3 of our mates that first night. George Kennedy, Ed Corbett, and Merritt Bowley just slipped away during the dark sometime. Then the next morning that storm was still raging. All of us wanted to give up at some time, except for Miss Mitchell here." He stopped and looked lovingly at Elizabeth Mitchell, the only female survivor, before continuing. "She was my teacher when I was a young'un. Known her all my life. Wasn't for Miss Mitchell here, we would have all given up. All through that first night she kept on telling us to think about our families, our loved ones. She said she was going back home, and so were all of us. We lost 6 souls before we drifted out there in the cold waters of this treacherous lake. Captain, sir, if it was not for our Miss Mitchell, none of us would be here with you today. She kept us talking and thinking about what we'd do when we got home. She is the only reason any of us survived our ordeal. I am not Catholic, nor is she, but if there was ever a saint in our hometown of Corunna, she would be the one as far as I'm concerned. Right, boys? Now, Captain Sir, with your permission, we have not slept for more than 40 hours. We could use some shut-eye, if you know what I mean. Certainly, men and lady, you have all earned a rest. I will see that you are not disturbed before we dock at Manistee in an hour or two.